Let's be real for a sec, deciding whether to stay or go in a relationship. I mean, is that not one of life's biggest questions?
Oh, absolutely. It's a question that I think every human who's ever lived has asked themselves at some point.
For sure. And today we are diving into a perspective that just might change how you see those big relationship decisions.
Okay.
We're talking about relationships as mirrors for growth.
Interesting.
So get ready, because this one's going to be good.
I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
So to kind of set the stage here, we've got this idea that your partner is like a mirror.
Okay.
And not just reflecting back like the best version of you, right? It's reflecting back maybe some of those rough edges, those insecurities, all that stuff we don't really like to look at.
Like the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, exactly. The stuff we try to hide.
Right.
So help me unpack this a little bit.
Yeah.
What does that actually look like in a relationship in real life?
Well, you know how sometimes your partner they do that one thing,
Oh, yeah.
that thing that drives you absolutely crazy.
We've all been there.
So this perspective says, what if instead of just getting frustrated, you kind of flip the script and you think, okay, what is this bringing up in me?
So instead of it being like, ugh, they need to change this about themselves, it's more like, what is this reaction telling me about me?
Exactly. It's like using those moments as a chance to learn about yourself. Because maybe that annoying habit your partner has, it's really just showing you something you haven't dealt with in yourself.
Interesting.
Right.
So it's kind of turning that frustration inward and saying, okay, there's something for me to learn here.
Yeah. And that's where the real growth can happen. Instead of looking for a relationship to be comfortable all the time, this perspective says, maybe we should lean into the discomfort a little bit.
Wait, so you're saying that being uncomfortable in a relationship is a good thing?
Well, it can be a good thing.
Right.
Because think about it. If we always avoid the things that make us uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
are we really growing or are we just kind of staying stuck?
I mean, nobody likes to be uncomfortable, but I can see how that would be where some growth happens.
Right. It can be tough to deal with. But it's in those moments when we're willing to look at those parts of ourselves, those parts we don't love.
Yeah.
That's when we can really change.
Okay. That makes sense for like those smaller things, those little disagreements that couples have. But what about when it's something bigger? When do you know it's actually healthier to just walk away?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Right? And this perspective actually talks about that. It gives 3 specific scenarios where ending things might be the best move.
Okay, so like 3 deal breakers.
Exactly. 3 deal breakers. And the first one, it calls grave errors.
Grave errors.
And we're not talking about forgetting to pick up the dry cleaning here. We're
Nice.
talking about those like unforgivable actions, infidelity breaking, trust things that just really damage the foundation of the relationship.
So those things that even if you still love the person, it's almost impossible to come back from.
Yeah, you said it. Those are the really tough ones where rebuilding trust and having a healthy relationship again, it's just so hard.
Yeah, those are the really tough ones.
Oh.
Okay, so that's grave errors. What's the second deal breaker?
But the second one is called shifting values.
Shifting values.
And it's kind of like this, imagine you and your partner, you meet, you fall in love, you have all these shared values,
Right.
right? Like you see the world the same way.
Right.
But then over time, people change. It's just natural. What happens when those core beliefs, those values, they start to shift in different directions?
So like say one person goes through like a major life change, right? Maybe they have a spiritual awakening or a big career shift, and the other person's like, nope, this is me. I'm staying put.
Exactly. It's like you're suddenly living in 2 different worlds, and that gap between you, it can be really tough to bridge.
Yeah, you're not growing together anymore. You're growing apart.
Right.
Okay, so we've got grave errors. We've got shifting values. What's that third deal breaker?
This one's interesting. It's called persistent negativity.
Persistent negativity.
And it's not just like having a bad day or a fight every now and then,
Yeah.
We all have those. It's more about this constant feeling of being drained, unhappy, unfulfilled in the relationship.
Like no matter what you do, you just can't seem to shake that feeling that something's not right.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're just swimming upstream all the time. And here's the thing, this perspective really emphasizes that before you even think about these deal breakers, you got to ask yourself, have I actually put in the effort to make things better?
So it's not just, oh, this isn't working, I'm out of here. It's like, have I actually communicated my needs? Have I tried to work through this?
Exactly. It's about taking responsibility for your own happiness in the relationship.
You
You can't just point the finger and say, well, if they would just change, then I'd be happy.
Right. It's not about waiting for them to change. It's about figuring out what you can do. You know, this whole conversation, it makes me think about how common it is for people to jump from one relationship to the next. Like they're always chasing that honeymoon phase. And then as soon as things get tough, poof, they're gone.
Oh, yeah. The old grass is always greener syndrome.
Exactly. What does this whole relationships as mirrors thing have to say about that?
It actually addresses that directly.
Yeah.
This idea that we keep looking for that new relationship high instead of facing the vulnerability and the hard work of real intimacy.
So it's like we'd rather just keep swapping out mirrors hoping we'll find one that only shows us our good side instead of actually doing the work to understand and accept ourselves' flaws and all.
100%. And this perspective is like, hey, what if those messy, uncomfortable parts, those are actually the most important parts?
Because if you're always running away, you never give yourself a chance to learn and grow from those experiences.
Exactly. It's like those imperfect moments, those times when we get triggered or we're challenged to look at ourselves, those are the moments that can help us transform.
Okay, this is a lot. I'm not going to lie. So with this whole relationships as mirrors thing, how do you actually know if you're with the right person?
Right. Is there like a magic formula?
Exactly.
Well, no magic formula, but this perspective offers a pretty simple but really powerful tool.
Okay, I'm listening.
4 questions.
Just 4.
Just 4.
Yeah.
And they are, do I still like this person?
Okay.
Do I still love them?
Number 2 makes sense.
Do I admire them?
Okay.
And this is my favorite. Do they still make me laugh?
Wow. When you put it like that, those questions are so simple, but they really get to the heart of it, don't they?
They do. Because if you can't honestly answer yes to those 4 questions, then it's worth really looking at what you're holding on to.
Yeah, it's like cutting through all the noise and getting to that core connection.
Exactly. And it reminds us that a fulfilling relationship, it's not about achieving some perfect state of bliss. It's about continually choosing each other through all the ups and downs.
It's about being partners on that journey of growth together.
Yes. Supporting each other through those tough times and finding the joy, even when things are hard.
So it's not about like looking for a relationship where it's always going to be easy.
Not at all. It's more about understanding that the good stuff, the real growth, and often comes from those tough moments, those imperfect moments when you're really challenged to grow as a person.
It's like choosing to see those challenges as opportunities instead of like failures.
Yeah. Like those moments that make you question everything. Those are actually gifts.
This is blowing my mind. So this whole deep dive, I mean, it's given me so much to think about. This idea of relationships as mirrors and being okay with being a little uncomfortable. It's tough, but it's also really empowering.
It is. It reminds you that you have a choice in your relationship. You're not just along for the ride. You can choose how you show up, how you deal with challenges, and how you let those experiences change you.
It's like taking control of your own journey.
Exactly.
And it really emphasizes that the best relationships, the ones that feel the most fulfilling, are usually the ones that push us to grow and change.
Right. And sometimes the biggest changes come not from finding that like perfect partner, but from embracing the messiness, the ups and downs of growing together.
It's like looking at your partner not just as someone you love, but as a teammate.
Yeah.
Someone who's on this journey with you.
Yeah. Like you're both figuring it out together.
Wow, well said. That about wraps up this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep looking at those reflections. You might be surprised what you find.